Clamp, the weekly podcast where we discuss all things related to creating, living, and making projects. I'm your host, Grant Alexander, and joining me as always is Jessy Radfink and Adam Mackey. And I want to hear about their weeks and what they've been up to. So, Jessy, you go first.
Okay, so last weekend I sat down on Sunday and I assembled a giant rigid heddle loom that I've had in my closet for a couple days. Shout out Audrey, she sent it to me. So yeah, I have to learn how to thread it. And tomorrow is my birthday. I took the day off from work and I'm going to learn how to thread this damn thing. And I think I'm going to start a scarf because the book that comes with it, if you're watching, you can see the first project is a scarf. So I'm hoping I can complete that. We'll have to see.
Two things. One, happy 21st. Second,
Thank you.
I don't know what a loom is exactly.
Okay, so
Me either.
Oh, not you either. Okay. So a loom is essentially what is used to make fabric. So you do weaving on a loom, and there are tons of different types. The one that I have is quite large and has a lot of pieces that are removable, and you can, sort of suit it to your needs. Where there are a lot of cheap, crappy looms that are just like a frame with some nails stuck to it. So, yeah.
Is that the thing that looks like a piano, like piano strings, and you like thread it through, and then you press your foot, and it moves it down, and then you thread,
and you pull it back, and thread, and pull it back.
Yes, I know what a loom is. Yes.
I do know what that is. Yes, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so I have a very big one of those. Yeah, I don't know why all of a sudden it just like popped into my head on Sunday, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna assemble that thing. So now I have to dig all of my yarn and stuff out because it has been a while.
There's definitely a joke about something looming, but I haven't figured it out.
I saw a reel the other day of a girl that made her own wool, like the whole process from start to finish, from like the clumps,
and everything,
spun it and everything, and then made a scarf on the loom and everything. Like it was all like from literally start to finish.
One day. I've always wanted to have, animals that I could take their wool. That would be nice. We'll see. I don't know. What about you, Adam?
I have just been powder coating, fucking up powder coating, trying to get off the powder coat. I just need to dial in a bit better, but I'm getting there. I've had some stuff be pretty successful. Some stuff I didn't clean properly, and the powder coat didn't stick properly.
So I saw the gold looked way more gold when you used the right clear.
Yes.
So is that one of your successes, or is it now also a failure?
Bit of column A, bit of column B. So my first batch was really good. Second batch, so the first batch was stuff that was already brand new that I powder coated over the top of. The second batch was stuff, there were parts on the bike that I didn't clean properly, so it didn't stick properly.
Oh, no.
And they came out like chrome, which is what it's supposed to do before you add the clear. But then the clear wouldn't stick properly, so they didn't golden up properly. So then I added more clear, heavier, which then just made it like too thick and bubbly and cloudy and stuff. So now I've got an ultrasonic cleaner, so I've been putting everything in there. And then I'm also baking it to lift the powder coat off and trying to peel it and get a sandblaster as well. But I bought a sandblaster because I didn't have one. I was going to buy one ages ago, but then realized I needed a compressor. But I bought one so I can actually clean the products properly before I coat them, because I was putting them in the ultrasonic cleaner and then going over them with a wire brush, but it's just not good enough. At least now I can sandblast it all completely clean, then put it in the ultrasonic cleaner, then give it a big alcohol wipe, and then bake it and everything. So
that sounds good to me because, oh my God, is sandblasting fun. Like if I ever have an excuse to do it, I will do it.
Well, so the thing is that that little tent that I bought, the pop-up tent to do the powder coating in, it's a bit annoying. Like I ended up just hanging the stuff out in the open and spraying, because like powder coating is actually not that bad for the environment and stuff. So it's not From what I've read, don't come fight me, but from what I've read. Anyway,
what is bad is getting in your lungs.
well, yeah,
Like
but
a
I'm
lot of that has to
wearing
do with about
gear.
yeah.
I'm saying
Okay.
the excess blowing off the driveway or whatever is not that big of a deal, apparently.
Yeah. Sure.
But
Pouring gasoline.
so
isn't
I
a big
actually,
deal and-
well, yeah. So I bought a coat rack and I'm going to start using that. But I've been just not using the tent. But now I can use the tent for sandblasting.
good luck. So
Yeah.
when I did powder coating at Maker Camp, they just had like cardboard boxes set up,
Cardboard boxes, yeah.
and like it worked out pretty good.
Yeah, well, that's what Griffin messaged me, and he said just get like a moving wardrobe, like
Yep.
like a big cardboard box with the rod in it for when you're moving.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest issue I had wasn't that the tent was too small or anything. It's just getting around it all. Like it was really hard to turn the piece so that you could spray all around and do a full 360 around it. It's so much easier when it's out in the open. It'd be good maybe to have like a full enclosed tent that I could get in, but
yeah. So I don't know. I can't remember exactly how they turned the piece, but obviously, like that was a problem with the piece that I made at Maker Camp. And I guarantee there are like little tips and tricks that you just need to learn that makes it so that you can easily just like do this. Because even like hanging the piece can be problematic because anywhere it touches won't get powder coat on it.
Yeah. See, that was one of my biggest things and even now I'm sort of learning little things like try to work out where's not going to be seen and all that sort of stuff. But every time I saw someone powder coating, I always thought, so it's not getting powder where the wire's hanging? Like and it kind of does and doesn't. It's a little bit weird, but you will be happy to find out that I have been messaging Stephanie.
Yes.
Yay.
So she gave me lots of advice. But yeah, I don't know. It's fun. It's fun as hell, but it's a massive learning curve and trying to like I haven't done that much, so sort of learning as I go how to know if it's not sticking and why it's not sticking and turning the pressure down in the compressor and all that sort of stuff. And one of the questions I asked Stephanie was, will I know if it's not grounded properly? Because like how can you tell if it's just sitting on top of it? And I stuffed up one day and forgot to turn, even though I was pushing the foot pedal, I forgot to actually turn on the machine. And so I now know what it's like if it's not grounded properly because it wasn't grounded at all. And you can tell a big difference. So I'm learning as I go, and you always learn from your mistakes. So I don't know. It's fun.
Sounds like you've been doing a lot of. You haven't been posting enough about it. I'd like to see you.
I know. I did.
More.
I did some black, which came out pretty good. Yeah. And then that's the gold to go with it.
Looks great.
Yeah. The black turns out a lot better because it's not a 2-step process, so it's not so fidgety. But some of the bigger black stuff is showing me a lot more of how it's not cleaned properly before I powder coat, which is really helpful. Because a lot of the gold I'm doing is like bolts and stuff.
What I really like about powder coating is like if you do it and then you like come back and go, well, I missed a little spot. You can just do more. That's like you could just go back and like and like it'll just all melt in together. That's what I've been told. I haven't done it, but like you could just go back and just add more powder coat.
It does depend.
Not like paint. Obviously, it depends on the type. But.
Well, it also depends on like so the black, not too big of a deal, but the thicker that you put on the gold, the more the color changes. So if you do 2 coats of gold on some stuff and only 1 coat on others, they'll be completely different golds. The heavier the gold, the different the color. But also, I had a few bolts that I did where, as I'm doing it up, the powder coat literally just came off. Like it was like there was a plastic cap on top that just came off. Yeah. And I was Googling today. It turns out I just didn't clean the product properly. Even though it's stuck, it didn't actually stick. It just grounded good. But yeah.
I would say like bolts, powder coating bolts is probably not going to be the most like durable finish because of the way powder coating works. Like you could if you get some torque on there, it's gonna rip it right off. But
Yeah, yeah,
it's gonna look
exactly.
good until
Yeah.
you do that. I don't know. It's one of those weird things. Like even if you
Well,
paint it, you get a little torque on there, it rips the paint off, right?
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I didn't tape up all the threads and stuff because I've got a huge tap and die kit. So I was like, I'll just run them through the dies after and all that. I wish I taped them. It's
Yeah.
so like it's such a pain in the ass. From now on, I'm going to make sure I tape everything. Like even if it's just the first few threads, just to get it started, and then running
Yeah.
it into just as normal hole will strip out what it needs to. But I didn't realize how much of a pain it was going to be, and I'm very frustrated myself. Um,
We have in the race car. Every time we like take apart a car, we just take all the bolts and put them in a giant bin to be sorted later. And one day
oh
I
yeah,
was ADDing and said these need to be like dealt with, and every single one of them needs to go through every nut and every bolt needs to go through a tap or a die, depending on what it
yep,
was. And so I spent like 6 hours doing that and with like a
insane.
drill, like because they weren't like you're just running it through to make sure there's no burrs or anything and no
Yeah,
grime and shit. So you're not like you don't need to be like quarter turn in, quarter turn out. You're not making new
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
threads. You're just running it to clean it out. So I was just like, bzz, 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 bzz. Oh my god, like. And at
with
the end of it,
the
I looked at all of it. I just went, I'll never get that day back. That was a
yeah
waste of a day.
the powder coating kind of makes it like you are cutting new threads. Like it's not super hard, but it's
Totally.
still more than if it was just getting dirt off. And the other thing is that I don't know what the thread is on everything, so trying to work out what dye it's supposed to be when it's already got the powder coat on, yeah, it's such a
That
pain.
sounds
But yeah.
frustrating.
Little bit of a job update. So last Tuesday, because we didn't get to record, I got an email. So I got through to the next stage. For anyone that doesn't know, they have asked my references. Everyone I've talked to, and I pretty much had this assumption myself as well, is that once you get to them asking for references, you pretty well have the job as long as your references check out. My reference has to be a past or present shift manager, and my current shift manager is amazing. So I know that he'll give me an amazing reference. So I'm not worried about that. But I haven't heard anything. It's now Friday, a week and a bit later, and I've still heard nothing. And the only frustrating thing is in the email I said, this is time sensitive. Make sure you get it done within 24 hours. And then just silence. And it's like, they're working on government time, but still, like, just give me a friggin' update. I'm so sick. Like, we went away last week to Port Stevens. We went swimming with sharks and rays. And I took my work phone with me because I like to check emails. And like every hour I'm checking for emails to see if like one came through. And I just wasted so much time and stress about it. And they still, like a week later, still haven't got anything. Yeah.
So I used to work in government HR, and it was like the first job I had. So basically, whatever they told me to do, I did, right? Because you don't know any better. And I recall like emailing people and giving them like hard deadlines to do things, like 24. You need to respond, and then we'd spend like 6 fucking months until we'd respond to them for the next step. And I go like, we're jerks. It's like part of like why I left there.
It's always
Just
do as
like,
I say, not as I do.
no, but I was just like, if we're gonna be like, I get you want to do a hard deadline because you gotta get these people in. You have a vacancy. You need to fill it. Like this is a because sometimes like you got like a service or a thing is being held up because of this. We need to fucking move fast. So you need people to act fast. And I go, if that's the case, then yeah, we need to get those hard deadlines. I said if that's not the case, we need to be a little bit softer approach on this shit. And like and other people didn't agree with me on that. I just went like, this is, why am I working here? And I left. Yeah. But good luck. I agree from my work in government HR, which is a completely different country, but similar in our, crown allegiance.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, if they've asked for your references after an interview, because sometimes they ask for them during the interview, so they don't so that they have them. But if you've done the interview, they've asked for the references, it's a good chance
Yeah.
that they're just making sure whether or not you are what you say you are. Because
Yeah, well, they had to do
I've
internal checks and everything as well, so
right.
that's all
I've
being
they've
done, I assume.
I've done lots of reference calls in my life, and I've only had one time where someone just basically was like, "You can't hire this person. They work for me
Oh, really?
currently. They're not good. I don't know."
Mm.
And I was like, "Well, I got some questions I need answered." And they're like, "No, I don't think you're getting me." And I'm like, "No, well, we have to go through these questions because again, I was new, didn't know any better." But I was like, but I went like, I think this person, like after that phone call, I was like, I don't think this person, we should hire this person. But I was like, we needed it. Government's very structured, which I
Yeah.
get. There's reasons for structure. Structure takes bias out of it. Structure takes, uh, it gives, it makes people so that they have to actually think ahead of time about what they're actually trying to assess. But like
Mhm.
anything, it can also like lead to uh, false positives where you hire someone who is shit because your structured
Yeah.
Yeah.
questions were not well thought out, or you, on the
Mhm.
other hand, fail someone who would have been really good because you're a fucking idiot. Like, anyways, uh, this is getting a little personal. So what have
Yeah,
I
what have
been
you
up
been working
to?
on?
Uh, so I got some new garage door openers. Installed
Fancy.
those. It was way easier than I thought it was going to be, which is nice. It's always nice when a project goes a little quicker. And now I finally, after so many years, have a look outside my door. I can press beep boop beep beep and open it up, which is something I always hated. I would be like on the outside of my garage, and I have to like walk into the house and and then like press the button on the inside. Or like if I had my car keys, I'd like open the car door with the like home link.
So I've seen on a lot of YouTube videos and stuff, people seem to have a code to get in their
Yeah.
garage door. Is that normal over there? Because I've
Yeah,
never seen that in my life.
How do you
Yeah,
open your
right,
garage
that
okay.
door
is
from the
very
outside?
normal. Yeah,
With a
that
remote.
is actually how we got into our last apartment when we moved up here. The landlord was just like, oh, the code is the last four of the zip code. And so we were just like, okay, well, we're in our house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, we just have
So
remote. Like here, literally a remote sitting right here.
Mm.
right.
So
So I
that's actually my
also
that
Yeah, we
stays in the
also have
garage.
remotes, but
Hmm.
this way you have the code so that like you can give it to your kids, or like you don't have to have multiples. It just sits there on my like beside my house, and I can give the code
Hmm.
to anyone, and they can get into my garage. Which sounds like a bad thing, but
Can you do guest codes that expire after a certain amount of time or something?
I'm sure on the so
probably.
I went for the I paid $150 for each garage door opener. So on mine you cannot do that. I
Right.
guarantee on the anything above that, I went with the very cheapest ones, but I didn't want them connected to
Hmm.
Wi-Fi. I didn't want them. I didn't want
Yeah.
smart home. Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. I didn't want any of that bullshit. I just wanted something that would go all the way to the fucking floor. So yes, I guarantee there are ones. I know that I've seen like people have codes on their door, and you can do
Yeah,
a
my next
Yeah.
door neighbor,
Do
Airbnb,
not
she's
like
got
that.
that code
yeah.
on the
I would
door,
not do that
which you
either.
can do guest codes for the Airbnb, so it expires after
Yeah.
they leave. And then she's got like NFC tags that she gave to like her cleaner and stuff, so they just tap their key and they can get in.
No thanks. No, thank
Hmm.
Yeah.
you. I don't like any of
I
that
do
stuff.
not like those crappy locks.
Well, it. So I'm her handyman in a way. Every time I install something, she gives me a case of beer. I had 4 locks I had to put on the front door because they kept failing with
Four.
Wi-Fi issues.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
So
I will not install anything that needs Wi-Fi to work. I
Yeah, me
refuse.
hmm.
either.
Like it does not make any sense. Like nothing needs Wi-Fi to work. Like other than the internet. But like my I don't need my fridge to like connect to Wi-Fi. I don't need my fucking toothbrush to be Bluetooth enabled. Like I don't need that shit. Right?
Tracks how much you brush your teeth or something.
No, my current fucking toothbrush has like I got it for free from my dentist because it's a whole nother story. But this is like the way they tried to like make it up to me. Is they gave me like this $300 toothbrush that like has Bluetooth enabled and like all this stuff, and I'm like, it's not connected. It's
No one needs that shit.
Right.
This is ridiculous.
It's for tracking, and if you really cared, it's like, new washers and dryers have like an app, so it notifies you when it's done.
Yeah.
I can see why that might be useful, and also why it might be passive aggressive, and like you just want to be like, fuck you, because you see this notification for the last 4 hours, and you just go, I know. If this wasn't here, I could just live my life, but now it's here, so now it's like bothering me instead of me just living my life, realizing the washer's been down there done for 2 days.
First of all, my wife tells me enough chores to do. I don't need electronics to tell me to come empty it as well. Second of all, have you seen 2.5 Men?
Some of it, yeah.
There's an episode where Charlie Sheen's maid quits, and he's doing his washing for the first time ever. And he says to Alan, like, how do I know it's done? And he goes, the washing machine will send you a text message on your phone, like as a joke. And he's like, oh, wow, that's so good. Like completely fake. And then like an hour later, his phone goes off because someone sends him a message. He goes, oh, the washing's done, and walks off.
And now they do it. So the other exciting thing that happened in my life is I had like a weird, and this is like, I had a weird problem with a vision problem. And like I don't know if we talked about like my biggest fears is like going blind. I think we talked about that, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We did talk about that.
And then like I later had like a vision problem. I was like, oh, God damn it. Like this is self-fulfilling prophecy.
You jinxed yourself.
Went to the eye doctor. Yeah, I jinxed myself. Went to the eye doctor and there's nothing wrong with my eyes. I probably psychosomatic or something. But I did find out that one of my eyes doesn't see so well at distance. I can see really well, really far. And then he covered one of my eyes, and I could not see anymore. And I went, the fuck's happening here? And I was
no.
Yeah, so apparently, like, one eye is good, and the other eye is, like, not been doing work because the other eye has been doing all the work. So he suggested I get, like, glasses that are basically, like, one eye is, and it's not, like, a big thing. Like, I could not see, but I just, like, couldn't read the same, like, all the way down on the chart the way that I could with two eyes or with the other eye. But
please get a monocle.
Yes. No, I don't need so I wouldn't be getting a monocle, but what I'm probably going to get is a pair of safety glasses, like prescription safety glasses, like the frames that I already like. And then
if he issues long distances, what the hell are you doing that you need safety glasses to see long distances?
The whole point is that I would then be wearing them all the time. So what he's suggesting is that if I wear them all the time, my eye will correct itself. Because right now, my right eye is just doing nothing. It's just like turned off. It says, I'm good, right? And so it's not getting the muscle because it says, I can't see that far, so I'm not going to bother. And the left eye is doing all the work. So he said, if I get glasses, the right eye will start to work again, and like it might correct itself over time. And so if I wear them all the time, then I might be able to correct myself. All I have to say, if I get glasses, I'll just get safety glasses, so then I don't have to switch. I'm already wearing them.
Yeah.
The only thing that sucks is like I know I've worn like anytime I'm wearing safety glasses and headphones, I fucking hate it. Because like if you get a good seal on your ear, you have a like glasses. Anyways, so I haven't decided whether or not I will go through with that, or if I will do like I do with most health-related issues and ignore it.
And ignore it.
Yeah. Also went to the dentist for the first time in 4 years.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah.
So I haven't
All
been
right.
in 30 years. So
Yeah. I did that for like 15 and then went for a while. And then COVID, I stopped because
Mm,
I don't like going to the dentist. And I went, oh, this is a good excuse.
weaving is a good
But
excuse to get out of dentist.
yeah, apparently I got problems with my teeth. They're
Oh
just
no.
normal bacteria eating away at them kind of problems, which I totally get. Because if I look at like old photos of me, my teeth didn't have gaps, and now they got gaps.
Oh.
And
Huh.
yeah, and I never used to have food stuck between my teeth, like the odd time, like popcorn or something. Now, after every meal, there's food stuck on my teeth.
Wow.
So,
Okay, well that is something I had never considered and now that's in my head.
right. So, I'm going to put this out to everyone like, go to the dentist. And the reason you go is not for them, like, to like yell at you about flossing, which, by the way, I floss 3 times a day. It has to do with they might be able to stop the decay of your teeth. But fuck it, like we're gonna get such good like robotic teeth soon. But this is so. I guess thinking about this, I go, who is there anyone ever who was a kid who wanted to grow up to become a dentist? Because I think like the dentist is the only place that I call up as a non like pervert, and I call up and say I'd like to book some time with the pain guy, right? Because otherwise, like that's all. That's it. Like I don't. I don't know if I don't know if it's just me, but they start just poking you with stuff, and I just go, why? Why do you think this is okay? There's no one out there who can feel like this is okay. I don't get it, right? But so I guess I wanted to talk like, what do you guys? Did you guys ever think about being a dentist, or what did you actually want to be when you were a kid?
I wanted to be a carpenter.
A carpenter. I
Yes.
wanted to be
I always wanted
carpet, but no.
to. Yeah, I don't know. I always wanted to be a carpenter, and then I did everything through school related, which I've talked about before. And then I tried to get a job as a cabinet maker, tried to get a job as a carpenter, didn't get them. Ended up working at Domino's, and now I am where I am today.
That's great. So let's turn this into a whole episode. Thanks, Adam, for sharing your 30-second story.
Well, surely there are other things beside a carpenter because I know I had like a lot of ideas.
Okay, let's
Um,
hear 'em.
Mm,
yeah,
not that I remember.
so when I was little, I pretty much was obsessed with animals. My first word was cat. So all of my jobs growing up were animal related.
Okay,
So vets, zookeepers, biologists, especially like a deep sea biologist for a little bit. I was like super obsessed with that.
okay, George
So
Costanza.
yeah, I don't ever get you guys' references. I am just if it's not in a
Wow.
horror movie, I don't know.
George
I know
Costanza,
it's
like,
Seinfeld, but I can't tell you.
would tell women he was dating that he was a marine biologist,
Oh my god.
and then he was on the beach with one of these women, and there was a beached whale, and someone's yelled out like, "Is anyone a marine biologist?" And his date like was like, "He is." And so George went up to this whale, and he gets up on top of the whale, and he can see they're like it's having problems breathing, and so he
Yeah, because
reaches
it's on
into
a
the
beach.
it, yeah, they're mammals, they can breathe air. So he
Not for
reaches into
long.
the blowhole, and he pulls
Oh
out
god.
a Titleist, a golf ball. And Kramer had been shooting golf balls into the ocean earlier in the episode.
Mm.
And so he's like telling the story about how he like pulls it out and it's a golf ball. And Kramer says, hole in one.
Oh my god.
And that's the end of the episode. But so you wanted to be a deep sea biologist, so like a Marianas Trench biologist.
Yeah. I really was obsessed with that for a long time. It was probably Ranger Rick's fault. Let's be honest. That magazine pretty much gave me like all of my obsessions.
Okay.
But I don't know. It's just the shit down there is terrifying. It's so different from everything
Yeah.
up here. So it just, I don't know. That always fascinated me, and I got really
Like
stuck on it for a while.
like anglerfish.
Yeah, anglerfish for sure. Or like, because I'm nervous and on camera, I can't fucking remember any of the names of stuff.
Perfect.
But
Yeah.
there's just so much see through, bony, crazy, adaptive, just like evolution. It's wild. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
those
totally
fish are
is.
crazy.
The fact
I
that
love
we
it.
have so much of our world that we haven't explored and we spend so much money trying to explore the vast emptiness of space
Yep.
blows my mind.
Yeah, there really should be more stuff happening in the ocean because we don't really know jack shit about the deepest parts of it.
We're starting to, but yeah, I think it's easier to go to space than it is to go to the depths of the ocean because when you go
Yeah.
down there, you're a billionaire and you die. Um,
Yep, that's
so
good.
yeah, the so you wanted to be into like pets was the
Oh
number
yeah,
or like animals, maybe not
animals.
pets.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, because I quickly realized that being a vet would break me. Like once
yeah,
you have your first like pet death, I was just like, oh yeah, I'm not cut out for that. No, no, thank you.
right.
Yeah.
I remember my wife wanted to be a veterinary nurse, and same thing. She was like, but I couldn't put them down. Like having to euthanize an animal would just kill her.
Yeah. Yeah. Because even if it's the
Yeah,
right thing to do, that is like, oh, it's hard. So yeah, that
yeah.
was
Yeah,
it for
exactly.
me on that whole
Old Yeller.
thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, don't talk about animal movies. Oh, that fucking movie.
So I get. So I recently went through all the garbage that my parents had been collecting for years. All my schoolwork and stuff, and I found like grade 2 or grade 3. Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it was like draw a picture
Hmm.
of what you want to be when you grow up.
Hmm.
And so I looked at it recently, and what I wanted to be was a cop in California. And
Somebody
Wow.
enjoyed cop movies, I think.
Mm.
no, what I wanted to do was like I wanted to serve like the public. I wanted to like my whole thought process of it was like I wanted to help people. And I felt like that's what they did. Like I now know I'm older now. I realize that's maybe not what
Yeah.
they do. I sure there are cops out there that help people, but I know by and large it's like you're responding to things after it happens. You're not actually like
Hmm.
the protect is a lot less than it is, right?
Yeah.
Uh, you know, but I just remember, but California, like it wasn't just a cop. I needed to be a cop in California.
That's why I was thinking, is it movies? Like,
Yeah.
what is that about?
Right. So I think like I was in like grade 3. I don't think I saw any movies like at that time. Like that would
Oh,
be like
huh.
I can't recall a movie. All I can think about is like I fucking hated the winter.
Oh.
Right? Like and I was like, I need to be the place that doesn't have winter.
I have a question about that though. Did you think all of California was beaches and palm trees? Because that's what I assumed until I moved there, basically.
Well, I think there's a lot of California that is that, and I think that there is also like I was in grade 3, so my thought process on things was like the same way Star Wars envisions planets as a singular ecosystem. Like
Yeah.
that's how I thought about states. Is like this one's cold, this one's hot,
Yep.
and I get like it's not exactly that way, but California's got to be comparatively to where I live. I'm gonna say
Oh yeah.
it's got
It's
some
warmer.
way warmer, right?
It's oh man. I don't know. It's just like 50 degrees and disgusting for a lot of the time in San Francisco.
What's
And I think that's
disgusting?
just ruined it. Just like drizzly and super humid and just like, yeah,
At
very, very
50?
just
At 50?
wet and
50?
moist and like in the 50s. Yeah.
I'll take it.
Oh, see, I. Mm.
I don't want like better than right like minus 20.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, or like the fucking feet of snow that I had to clear in my
Exactly.
driveway tonight. But like, it was, I guess the reason that I hate it so much and why I always think of it and I'm like, fucking TV lied to me is that I was a commuter. And so I was constantly in the weather. So, yeah, out in California, I learned about layering properly because it's just like you never know how shitty it's going to get.
Right.
You
Fair.
reminded me talking about movies that I always wanted to be a truck driver as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a
Yeah,
good
from
one.
watching
and the
Smokey
Bandit.
and the Bandit. Yeah,
Oh my God.
I was
So
obsessed.
we grew up with CB radio in our car.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
And
fancy.
like this is back in the day where kids could sit in the front seat because airbags didn't exist. So you could like you could reach the CB radio if you were in the passenger seat. So sitting shotgun meant a lot more than just being able to like sit in the cool seat. You
Yeah.
also got to like interact with the CB radio and try and find uh truckers to talk to while you were going on your random, you know, whatever mission my mother was on during the day to get groceries or whatever, whatever shit that they had to do during the day. I don't know. I don't remember. I was talking on the CV. But you'd go like breaker 19, like bullshit that like you're a kid, so you just make you don't know what you're saying
I
over and
remember
over.
my cousin having like a handheld CV, and
Yeah.
I still to this day can remember being at his house doing like prank calls and stuff over the CV of
Oh my gosh.
like I'm a hot girl sitting on the side of the road, rubber ducky, come in, rubber ducky. Yeah, oh god,
So,
shit we did as kids.
yeah, I know it's painful to think about sometimes. Uh,
Right.
Random like side quests here. I just remembered the name of one of the coolest deep sea creatures, and this is actually a very recent discovery, or at least I think capture on film, maybe not discovery.
Right.
So everyone should look up bigfin squid, genus Magnapinna. Um, I will copy and paste this in the chat for you guys, and I'll put it in the show notes. But it is fucking haunting and so cool. So this particular one doesn't have a length estimate, but previously it says 6.4 meters or 21 feet in total length, and most of that
Oh
is
wow.
tentacles.
Wow.
You know what?
I
At that
fucking
point,
love
I'd
it.
call them 20 tickles.
There
20
might have been some
tickles?
jokes about that. Scientists can be very corny.
Well, instead of 10 tickles, they're 20 tickles. Yeah, Adam gets it
No
now.
response at
So,
all.
No, I get it.
he got it. All that
Not
to
even a
say,
smile, though.
yeah, that does look creepy. I don't understand like long tentacles like that.
I
It looks
well,
normal to
so
me.
this one,
Yeah.
oh, good lord. This one, basically, the tentacles help it feed because it's not really a super strong swimmer. So it sort of just floats around, and then the things that, get in the tentacles, that's food. Is
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how this works.
All right. So I guess very interesting. I don't know what else to say about that other than
Sorry.
I hope I don't get in there 20 tickles. Um,
Yeah, don't want that.
as you got older, so like I was talking like grade 3, and you were talking like as a young kid, you were talking like
Yeah,
animals were
this
the
is
thing.
elementary and
But
middle school, probably. I was still thinking that way.
right, so maybe as you like got older into like high school, obviously Adam has nothing further to add to this conversation because apparently Carpenter must have read the Bible, saw Jesus was a carpenter, went that's where I'm going.
Definitely not.
But yeah, no, that's totally it. And so from that, I guess, what did you think as you were getting older?
uh, so down another nerdy path, I actually started thinking it would be really cool to work in a bookstore or as a librarian. Being an adult now, I realize those are wildly different things and that working in a bookstore sucks. Uh, so, it kind of it changed a lot as I got older, but yeah, I don't know.
I would say
It looked
working in
romantic
a
and fun.
working in a bookstore, if it paid like a living wage,
Yeah.
that it might be something that you'd be interested in doing. You know what I mean? Like, if like
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of people who would work at a bookstore because like sharing your passion for books with other people
Mhm.
sounds like something a lot of people would want to do.
I mean, and that part of the job is great. Like, and well, for everybody that doesn't know, I worked at Half Price Books for 8 years. I don't know, a long time. And like, yeah, there are great parts about it, but so much of it is just people being shitty because it's retail. And so, like, I don't know, a lot
Right.
of the good parts kind of have disappeared over the years. And I mostly remember like the customers that spit on me. It's like,
I think that has
Yeah,
more to
right.
do with society and less to do with the
Yeah.
bookstore.
probably, but like you just can't work in retail and expect to be treated like a human. And so I just can't do it anymore.
Okay, only in America maybe.
Only in
But
America. Sure. Yeah, we're awful.
yeah, it's true. Uh, this is why we don't have more listeners. I'm pretty sure it's because I just shit upon
Because we just
America.
shit on the US the whole
Yeah,
time. Well, y'all, you should try being a woman here. Okay?
right.
I'm allowed to complain. Just
Well, I'm the
laying that
one
out there.
complaining. But so okay, so you wanted to be in books, and that makes
Yes.
sense. You
Yeah.
wanted
I
to
was
be.
obsessed.
Did you ever think about writing books?
Yeah.
Okay,
But just the way my brain works, I don't know that I
you're
could do that.
you're more of a blogger. I've read it. I've
Yeah,
read the
like
blog.
shorter. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I probably have 10 blogs that I just stopped writing and then started another one. Who knows if they're still out there, but like I wrote all the time.
If you
Yeah.
look on the Internet Archive, you can find a lot of them, which is
Oh,
crazy to me.
really?
So, and I'll go, like this is my aside is at one point there was like a minimum, like the amount of information going on the internet on a daily basis was capturable,
Hmm.
and now it is not.
No.
Mm.
And that's an interesting thing to me that we're going to get to a point where if it goes on the internet, it's not forever because no one's capturing it anymore.
Well, and GDPR also, like there's a lot of like privacy measures being put in place where it's not forever anymore.
I get you say that, but I think there's just so much going out there that at one point, if you put something on the internet, it was forever because someone could just download it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now the amount of information created, like it's impossible. It's just
Yeah.
physically impossible. But so when I was in high school, I know the like what I wanted to do was like design remote control cars or work on real size cars. Like that was the only thing I thought about was like basically being an engineer for that type of work.
Mhm.
And it obviously never happened because that's not what I do now. But I look back on it and go like I really wish that I had seen the path to that clearer.
Yeah.
Like I really hate the fact that like in high school this like hormonal 16-year-old boy is picking the things that will like define his future.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not good. Oh. It's too
And I
many.
and
Yeah,
I
it's definitely too many big decisions for someone whose brain isn't fully formed. It's just too much.
Mm-hmm.
right, and I get like I completely get like when I went back to college, or when like I flunked out of university, didn't flunk out, but I quit before I flunked out, and went to college after that. I was in classes with this guy who was like 45, right? And as a 20-year-old, a 45-year-old's like, Jesus fuck, you're a dinosaur, like,
Yeah, you're
right? And
almost
I was
done. Oh
already
my
because I
God.
right, I was already old as the 25-year-old, you know what I mean? Or 22-year-old. All the rest of the kids were 18, right? Like I was the
Oh,
old
okay.
22-year-old, right? And then
Yeah.
there was a 45-year-old in the class with us, and I just went like, Jesus Christ. But then I look at it and go, so if at 45 you change careers, you go to school for 2 years, and for some reason, like you're able to financially you you got a lot of fucking you got 20 more years to like work,
Hmm?
right? At 45.
Yeah, my
I'm
best
not
mate
gonna
just
do
started trade school,
shit.
and he's 33.
Right. But like you have if you find something you want to work at, you
Yeah.
got like 65 is no problem for most people to
Yeah.
work at something. Like I'm not trying to say like you have to work till you're 65. What I'm trying to say is if you like working and you want to do it, 65 isn't a unreasonable thing to
Mhm.
get to work. So at 45, if
Yeah.
you want to change careers, you can do it. And that's the
Yeah.
same thing. Like if you are in a job that you hate right now and you are 40, like I am almost, or whatever, like what, or 35, and you're thinking like, well, I can't do it. You can, because
Mm-hmm.
I know, and there's something on Dave Bauer's podcast. Like I remember one of the episodes, one of his guests talked about like being in university and like being like a couple years in and thinking, is it too late to switch? As a 20-year old, is it too late to switch majors? Like, will I ruin my entire life at 20 because I wanted to switch like career? Like, no, you're 20, right? You're nothing. Like, you are literally nothing, right? And I get like the problem is like, you don't want to get into like this, like every 2 years you switch, your desire and you never actually accomplish anything. But if you're 20 and you're not sure what you want to do, 100% understandable. Take some time, figure it
Mhm.
out.
Yeah.
If you're
Work for a
30,
little bit, and then you'll realize what you like.
right? If you're 30 and you hate your job, quit it.
Mhm.
And if you are anyone listening, if you think that you can do it, you can. And if you think you can't, you won't be able to. And it's that simple.
Yeah. It really can be. And so speaking of that, and I don't want to say that I hate my job. I love you, Autodesk. I love you, Tinkercad. I love you, Instructables. Don't fire me. But when I eventually am let go, I will assume it will happen at some point in my life. I don't see myself retiring there, but maybe I'll get super lucky. But I've been thinking both about nursing and working in a mortuary, which I
Oh
know is
yeah.
a pretty wild, but body stuff doesn't really bother me. And I find it all kind of interesting. So, yeah, I've thought about that seriously. But like where we're living right now, it would never be able to happen. But if we move somewhere with like, more hospitals, it's a possibility in my future if, Autodesk doesn't carry me to retirement. So we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Is mortuary a morgue, or
Yeah.
are they different? Okay.
Well, they typically reside in the same building, but a mortuary is basically where the actual procedure is formed, and the morgue is more
It's
where
just where they're
bodies are
kept.
held. Yeah.
Right. Ah, I
Yeah.
never knew that.
So
Interesting.
I don't know.
Wow.
I feel like,
Always seemed neat to me.
yeah, I feel like it is interesting. Like I've always been sort of interested in that stuff too, but I couldn't see myself working on it. Like I don't want to see any more dead bodies than I've already seen.
Yeah.
But
No, that is
I
totally
feel,
fair in your line of
but
work.
I do feel like if you're sort of like not into it in like a weird way, but like if that's what you enjoy, you sort of take that dead body part away from it in a way. Like you're not
Yeah.
looking at this like, oh my god, it's a dead body. You're like, okay, I need to actually like do work here, and I'm interested to find out what happened and autopsy and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Well, and I think for me, like, and this is going to sound really weird, but I have been around my death my whole life. Our family cemetery is right across from where we lived. And like, people started dying early. I lost a lot of friends. And so it's just always been something that I've thought a lot about and been around.
Mm.
And so I don't know. I'm a little fascinated with it. It doesn't super scare me like a lot of people, and I feel like I'm pretty good at comforting people and being able to know what to say.
Hmm.
So like in nursing and, like a mortuary assistant or whatever, it could be helpful. Like it could be useful skills for those sort of things, but I don't know. Cuz that's the only thing I worry about is I get really attached to people. And so it's like if I go into nursing, that could be that could be really hard.
So my uncle lost his job at a newspaper as a graphic designer and became like he started working at a funeral home
Mhm.
and like helping people with all of that.
Yeah, all the
So I'm just saying like
arrangements.
that, yeah, funeral arrangements and like dealing with the body and all that, like,
Mhm.
and just something to like consider in case like it happens.
Yeah.
It is like a
I've
job that I'm sure is often in demand and isn't easily fillable because a lot of people don't
Probably.
like death.
Yeah.
I feel like working in a mortuary would be easier than
Oh,
working
yeah.
in a funeral home. Like
Absolutely.
having to have that compassion and all that sort of stuff. Like you can't
Oh.
fake that sort of stuff.
No.
But in saying that, like I used to deliver flowers for a friend, and I delivered flowers to a funeral, and the people that they hired to do the funeral were at the back of the funeral laughing, telling jokes to each other, like
Oh,
quietly, but
no.
still, while like the
Yeah.
recessions and everything's going on. It's what are you doing? Like it's so unprofessional. I understand, like, you're probably just used to it, but still, like, someone's funeral. Like, what do you like? You can't, like, you have to have compassion all the time, or at least if you work in a mortuary, you can think whatever you want.
I will put this out there. I will hope if anyone listening comes to my funeral, tell a joke because that's what I want.
No, but
But
no, hang on, no,
okay,
and
I won't
just
say
let me
much.
say, no, just let me say, yes, okay, tell jokes, not the people that you've hired to run the funeral.
I don't
Not the
want them to
people that
tell
aren't
jokes.
part of not the people that aren't part of the family up the back telling jokes to each other while
Oh,
and
I
not
hope they
like
are. That's what I
I
want.
don't know.
Everyone
It
telling
just
jokes
seems
all the time. I
so
completely
unprofessional to
agree
me.
with you. But you know who are professional people?
Our patrons?
Especially the F clamp level. Scott from Dad It Yourself DIY, Joe Herdina, David Wood from DW Wood Builds, Brad from I'm Gonna Make, Chad from Chad's Customer Creations, and everyone else who supports us there. I really appreciate it, and we all three of us, we really appreciate it.
Yes.
If you would like, you can sign up at patreon.com/clamp. That will get you access to the after show, the monthly gnome hammer draw, as well as a custom leather keychain made by yours truly. Um, if you can't support us there, we completely understand. If you want to support us by buying merch, we got merch. I'm wearing my Grant Alexander t-shirt, but we also have Clamp t-shirts, and we got BKR builds and Jessy Ratfink t-shirts as well, available if you go on our Clampcast website, clampcast.com. And now, CLAMPmendations.
CLAMPmendations.
I'm going to recommend everyone checks out this very interesting like video that just like popped up, and it was like this guy took an old electric stove and turned it into a shop heater. So he used
Oh.
just the electric stove, and he used the elements, like the circular elements, to be the elements for the heater, and he used the fan that was above to be the blower across the elements, and he used all the controls from the stove and like rewired it to and like made a little control panel from all the parts of the stove. And it's the guy's name's 65 Ford, so I assume he's like into cars. I've never heard of him before. I don't know how it came up on my feed. This is like one of the very few times where Google got it right, or YouTube got it right. But I was just like, this is a guy I want on my zombie apocalypse team because, like, like the ability to take, or post apocalypse team, the ability to take old technology and turn it into something new
Mhm.
is really great. And and just like the thought process between how he did it, why he did the things he did, and I just thought it was a really cool thing. In the video, he also talks about other builds he's done of a similar, like, take old something and turn it into something completely different. So maybe worth checking out.
Cool.
It looks really cool. I love those old green ovens. They're so nice looking compared to some of the stuff we have today.
Well, that's also true, and it's one of those things that, like, it's sad to in it. Like, the really interesting part, like, everyone has a knob to adjust the heat.
Mm.
The oven that he had just had like 9 settings, which was like actually
It's the
cool as a
buttons.
heater, right? Just a bunch of buttons that you press. And I was like, that makes, like, I don't understand why we don't have that now. 'Cause I don't need like a knob. I'm never like, I don't need infinite adjustability. Like, I 9 settings is probably actually too many. I probably need like 5. You know what I mean?
It's
Like an air fryer.
it's funny.
Just-
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because like here, like I will set like maybe 100, maybe 120. Usually I cook at 180 or 200 degrees. I don't need to go like 173 degrees, but I suppose in America you probably do because you got weird numbers.
we normally keep
No.
things around. Like baking recipes are normally like 350, 375. So it's like in multiples of
20.
25.
Yeah, it's all 25.
Right.
That's what we use too.
Yeah, okay.
We use Fahrenheit in Canada because no matter what I do, I can't get away from the freedom units.
We're gonna say yes.
Freedom!
Well, mine has a bit of post-apocalyptic, whatever that word is, stuff as well. But I was listening to Psychopedia, and they were talking about how when you're texting with someone, you're reading it in your mood, right? So, like, if
Yeah.
you're angry, like if you're fighting with someone over text, you're reading it how you're feeling.
Right?
And he suggested to go watch a video by Key and Peele about texting, and like this video is so like funny but true at the same time.
Yeah.
One of them is really angry, the other one's high and really mellow, and he's like, "Oh, do you even want to go to the bar?" And the mellow guy's like, "Yeah, whatever." And he's like, "Whatever? What do you mean, whatever?" Like he's so angry. He's like, "You want to go?" And he's like, "Yeah, I said let's go." And then like so the angry guy thinks that thinks that it's a fight. The other guy's like, "Yeah, let's go to the bar." And like it's so funny, like it, yeah. But it's so true. Like I never realized it till like I watched that, how true that really is.
It is one of the biggest, like, things that I deal with on, like, with conflict in my work. That,
Yeah.
like, I see people, and the big problem is, like, they people, even if you're not in a bad mood, you also, like, don't like someone, so everything they say is like an offense to you, or
Yes.
is
Yeah.
or is stupid because you just like you put so much stuff onto whatever it is, and it's because people judge others based on their actions, and they judge themselves based on their intentions. And you can never tell someone's, unless you're clear on your intentions, you just say, "Oh yeah, sure, sounds great, whatever," right? And then
Yeah.
whatever, like, everyone like puts their own thoughts into everything. It's great. I've seen
Yeah.
that skit. It's good.
Yeah. I'm not gonna spoil why the post-apocalyptic ties in, But when you
Oh,
watch it, you'll
I forgot
understand.
about that. Okay.
Yeah. In case anyone's wondering, like, what the hell? How's that segue at all? But you'll understand when you watch it.
So I am recommending another Instructables author this week. This week it's Honus. I hope that's how you say it because it's onus with an H on the front. So yeah, I'm hoping it's Honus. Sorry, Jerome, if that's wrong. Um, but he also lives here in Colorado. He's a professional jeweler. Um,
Mm.
and I fully recommend everyone follow him on Instagram. I'm pretty sure the handle is Making to Learn over there. And he does the coolest stuff, the tiniest welding when he does jewelry repairs and stuff like that. And I love seeing everything he does. He's kind of the master of metal to me on Instructables. He does like huge projects and also really intricate, sort of more jewelry themed projects. His latest one is a 4x5 film view camera. And the process, the pictures, it's so beautiful. It's probably one of my favorite Instructables. So yeah, I just recommend everyone follow him, check out his work because it's just some of the coolest stuff ever. Also, if you like cosplaying, he also has some really fantastic costume Instructables. So, a
Yeah.
little bit of everything, but
If you
talented
if
all
you like
around.
machining, because I know some of our
Yeah.
listeners out there are machinists. He does a
Yeah, that's
lot
another
of
good call
machining.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was
And
just looking
he's
at, he's
amazing.
got a handmade jeweler's saw, which
Hmm.
is something I've thought about making a lot, and uh, now I don't think I will because it's a lot of work. But maybe one day, maybe one day. But I just looked at it and went, no, that's too much work. I'm good. But yeah, cool, good show. So now it's on to the Ask Us Anything.
Ask us anything. The Ask Us Anything for this week is from Time Capsule's Scratch Builds. And they ask, out of the things you've made, what are you most proud of? And I had to think about this for quite a while. Uh, and I can't really decide. There's two projects that I did. One is a Warhammer 40K embroidered wall hanging I did for a customer. I
Mm,
documented it on Instructables. That one was fun, but it took a very long time. But I was very proud of what I made at the end because it was essentially like a canvas scroll that I sewed up after I embroidered it. It turned out super well. And then the other one is probably my biggest embroidery project I've ever done, which is embroidering Forever Young lyrics by Bob Dylan.
mm.
That one took almost 30 hours. And it's
Wow.
another one that I documented. And I'm really happy I documented it because, I mean, otherwise, how would I know how much floss I used making it and all that weird stuff? So, yeah, it's interesting to look back through it. And there's also a picture of me at the end with a very unfortunate haircut because I was growing out bangs. What about you
I
guys?
think I I don't know. I want to say my motorbike because it's just like one of the most passionate things that I put work into. But I also want to say the um, coffee table that I made was one of my favorites, which
I
is
need to
now
make some
the dump.
furniture.
It's now at the dump.
Yeah.
Aw.
Well, I don't know what to do with that particular bunch of words together. But I think about like what does it mean to be proud of something, and this is where, for me, like when I think about being like proud or of something, I go like I know I still to this day look at it and go I really like how that turned out. I would do that again this way. I I'm happy with that, and I would, even if you like change some things around because you've learned and grown since then, you're like, I did good. And I think of like the garden build I did in my backyard, which I didn't do a good job documenting, and I like regret it now because it turned out really good. I'm really proud of that, and it's been very fruitful, and like to the point where I go like I want to like do another one, right? Like you know what I mean? I don't have a big
Yeah.
enough backyard to like do another one, but I'm like why not? Also, it was a fuck ton of cedar, and it cost a lot of money, but
Yeah, I was about to say. Probably is pretty
and
expensive.
and like my it's like I'm really proud of how my the play structure I made for my kids turned out. They don't use it as much as I hoped they would. You know,
Yep.
like,
Well,
Same here.
and it's like a lot of the things that I've made for my kids, like I'm really proud of them. But then I like look and I go like, I've seen them play with a piece of cardboard longer than some of the stuff I made with them. So I'm like, I don't know what to do with that in my mind.
I want to change my answer.
oh,
The proudest thing I've ever made is my kids.
I
Yeah,
thought one of you might say that.
I was gonna say that. I was
There
like,
you go.
that's a stupid answer. So
Yeah.
I want to
Okay,
thank
so
TF
that's
Turn.
answer one. The
Yeah,
others are answer two, and we're all good. Yeah.
I want to thank TF Turning for the theme song. We're currently in discussions with him to get a new theme. If you
Yeah,
want to
heavy
like
metal
have
one.
some if you have, it's going to be Taylor Swift themed. If you
Hey, I'd be happy with
if
that.
you want, yeah, if you want to get any input into it, join us on the Discord. We got a little clamp Discord, and tell us what you want to hear at the start and end of the show, and we will ignore it and just make Taylor Swift stuff. Uh No, just joking. But yeah, if you want to find us, you can find us in all the usual social media places except for X, where you won't find us. But just search Clampcast. And if you want to find Adam, you can find him at where are you at these days? Have you changed all the things yet? Have you
No,
changed
so
some of the?
YouTube,
Yeah.
no, YouTube, I'm BKR Custom Motorbikes, and everywhere else, I'm Making Mackie.
All right, Jesse. What about you?
Jessy Ratfink on Instagram, and even that is sporadic. So sorry about it.
Well, yeah,
Fair. If you
same
want to
here.
find me, I'm the Grant Alexander everywhere. And until next time,
Bye.
cheers and have a great day.
Bye.